Hi everyone, happy Sunday. It's good to be with you this morning. I have my other puppet stage in the background today and this fun palm. How cool, right? Just mixing it up for you. Hey, we're talking about people who were really faithful in the Bible and how God was faithful to them. And today we're going to talk about David. Woo! He is a very popular and favorite character in the Bible, and we're going to read the story of David and Goliath today. That is a very good one, and we will see how David was faithful to God and how God was faithful to him. Now today I'm reading from the Jesus Storybook Bible, and I'm reading from this Bible because 1 Samuel 17 in our real Bibles, it's pretty long and there's a lot of details that I would feel like I would just have to explain, and that would make this video crazy long and you'd probably get bored. So we're not going to do that. But if you want to read the full version, I encourage you to grab your Bible and probably a parent and read 1 Samuel 17 later this week or today or whenever you want. So we are going to read the story of David and Goliath. Ready? Here we go. In this book, it's titled The Young Hero and the Horrible Giant. God's people had some scary enemies, but the Philistines were the scariest of them all. And now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon called Goliath. Goliath was a terrifying soldier, and worst of all, a giant. A giant so strong and so tall and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him and live to tell the tale. Well, this Goliath, scary dude. So there they were, the Philistines standing on the top of one hill, God's people standing on the top of another hill. Every day, Goliath came out and shouted, "Send your best soldier to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one moved. That's really scary. Whoa. Oh boy, here we go. "Chickens!" Goliath bellowed. That's just not nice. "Your God can't save you. I'll rip your heads off and have you on toast." Ooh, this Goliath, he's just got some really mean things to say. His beady, greedy eyes glowered at them hungrily from his horrible helmet, as if any minute he really just might gobble them up. And he laughed his terrible laugh. Ha ha ha, it boomed, echoing horribly around the dry, dry valley. Well, Goliath might just as well have been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads, because God's people froze with fear. Their eyes glazed over and they turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quickly, if someone didn't save them, but God would do something. He would send someone to save them. Now you remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse? Well, his brothers were soldiers in the army. One day when Goliath brought his brothers their lunches, he saw Goliath, and he saw how everyone was scared of him. "Don't be afraid," David shouted. "I'll fight him for you." "Really, David? You're the youngest? And you're like a kid? Let's see how this goes." "You're only a little shepherd boy," the king said, "and Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," David said. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear, but it was too heavy and too big, and David couldn't even walk. "I don't need this," David said. Look at that. Oh, sorry. Look at how it's so way too big. Oh my goodness, that makes me laugh. That's how little David was. He couldn't even fit in the armor. Instead, David picked out 5 smooth stones from a stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he took his slingshot. I have one here. I found one. Isn't that fun? Isn't this so cool? I think it's like, I think somebody made it. I don't really know. I found it. So, yeah, I have a slingshot. I'm not going to use it because it was dangerous. Anyway, so he took his slingshot and he walked towards Goliath. Step, step, step. Now the book gets weird. I have to turn it because Goliath is on the page. Whoa. Cool, right? Goliath walked towards David, thud, thud, thud. You? Goliath peered down at the small boy. I'm little, David shouted up to him, but God is great. Goliath laughed an even terribler laugh than usual. Ha ha ha, it went. With just one swing of his giant sword, Goliath could finish the boy off. But David kept going. It isn't how strong you are or how many swords and spears you have that will save you. It is God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battles. David put a stone in his sling and swung it around and let it go. Sorry, that just made me laugh. The little stone flew out, whiz, like a bullet through the air and struck Goliath, thud, right between the eyes. Goliath stopped laughing. He stumbled and staggered and crash, fell dead. Whoa. When the Philistines saw Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. God had saved his people. David was a hero. Many years later, God would send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. But this hero would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known. And that, my friends, is the story of David and Goliath. I hoped you liked it from the storybook version. I thought it was really, really good and really thoughtful. And I really like this story because we see how brave David was. And in my Bible, when I was reading 1 Samuel 17, it says that right before he went into battle, Saul said to him, now Saul was the king that they were talking about and who had the armor that David couldn't fit in. Saul said to him, the Lord be with you. And I think that that phrase is probably what really gave David the confidence to go into battle. He knew that God was with him. God was faithful to David and all of Israel because Goliath was defeated. David was faithful to God by standing up and being brave. David knew something needed to be done about Goliath because of the way Goliath was talking about God. He did not respect God and he did not say good things about God. And here's something fun, friends. I don't really think God's gonna call you to defeat a giant anytime soon. I haven't heard of any giants walking around Earth recently, but God does call us to do some big things and some scary things sometimes. And in those moments when we have a calling from God, he'll help you be brave and he'll give you the faith you need to go into those moments really strong and to finish well. And God will be faithful to you in those moments too. So I think that's something we can really learn from David's story, is that when we're brave and we're faithful, God sees us through in those moments. So, friends, I have these activity sheets. I have a little table here. It kind of doesn't look like it, but I do. So I have this like cut and paste thing that you can do. I'll send it to you. And it's a phrase that you get to decode when you cut everything out. And I have a color by numbers thing, and it's David with Goliath. This is what it looks like when it's done, when you color it. Clearly I didn't color it. That's just from printing. But there you go. That's a pretty cool picture. There you go. So you can do a color by numbers, and you can do this cut and paste thing to remember David's story and how he was faithful to God and how God was faithful to him. So friends, I hope you have a great Sunday, and I hope that you can remember that God is always with you and he will help you through all of the things that we face every day in life. I will see you next Sunday. Thanks, friends.